Hello. Hi. Welcome to my kitchen again, and I hope that you guys can hear and see everything. So please do let me know if you can and if that's all okay, because as a lot of you will know, we are trying out some new tech at the moment, or I am trying out this new tech to see if it works for all of us. So we really do want to make sure that you guys can hear and that you can see everything properly. So I am going to get the live up on my screen here, just so that I can make sure that I can see everything that is going on. So let me just get it up, and also I can see you guys, because it would be really, really nice to see you. And let me just make sure that the sound is off as well, so that you guys aren't hearing double me. You don't want to hear double me, just a single me will do. Okay, so I can already see that Johnny is here. Welcome, welcome. Anne and Louisa, thank you so much for being admin again today. Robert, thank you for joining us, and Colleen, good morning, good morning. Okay, so please do let me know if the sound is okay. Is it okay? Is it all right? Let me know. Let me know. We'll just go through the different screens and just make sure that the sound is okay with all of our different views today. So how is the sound here? Is it okay? Let me know. And then we've got the sound here. Is this okay? Let me know. Okay, so how was that for you guys? Harry, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us again. And hi, hope you're having a good day. Yes, I am. All the better for seeing all of you lovely people. Definitely. Denise, greetings and good morning, Chef Day. How are you? I can hear perfectly. That's great. That's great. That's great. So just if I can just double check with everybody, if all of the screens, if the sound was okay, because I'd like to get that kind of sorted out before we get going. Sound is good. It looks dark on the close-up shot though. Okay, well, let's see if we can do something about that. Right, there we go. No, that's the wrong one. This is the one that we want. Let's get me a bit brighter, a bit lighter. There, how's that? Better? Is that better? I hope that that's better. I mean, we can do like really weird things if we want. Oh, not having a good day here. Oh, it's really, really hot. Did I mention that I'm going to be a complete child about this tech, by the way, for like many, many years to come? Many years to come. We can just play around with it. We can see, what's happening? Ah! See, loads of fun. Endless hours of fun. Okay, so I hope that you guys can see all okay. And just to let you know what we are making today. So we are making another curry recipe. Just say a quick hello to Tanya and Claire and Richard. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you. We are making another curry recipe, and this week has been curry week. Excuse me, with my cup of tea. It's a cup of tea day. I don't know if it's the same way you guys are, but it just literally like started pouring down. So you know, definitely a time for a lovely cup of tea. So it's been curry week all week. We have had lots of different curries from different parts of the world. The curry that I will be showing you guys how to make today takes its influence from Eurasian cuisine. So that is cuisine that has an Asian influence but also a European influence. And so because of those cultures coming together, quite often what you see is influence from both of them. So the one that I'll be making you guys today, or showing you guys how to make today, I wish I was making it for you. I wish you were like coming around to my house and, you know, I'll show you how to make it and then you come and eat with me. But maybe one day we'll do that. Okay, oh, Anne said that she hasn't got any sound. Is it just her? I think it is just you, babe. Yeah, I think it is. But I think that you had a problem with that before, so I don't know how you rectified that problem. Anyway, so yes, as I was saying, so this is a Eurasian dish. It is usually, I think this is the one that is usually made with offal, which is pretty gross, we're making it with tofu instead. You'll be glad to know. You'll be very, very glad to know. So when I was looking at how to change this recipe into a vegan dish, I did think about, you know, I looked into what the texture of that type of meat was, and that helped me to be able to think of what would be a good alternative. And so a very, very firm tofu, an extra firm tofu, even like a smoked tofu, you know, one that is already like pretty like solid and firm would go really, really well in this dish. So, oh, Paul has confirmed that the sound is good. That's good. Johnny says he wants to come around for curry. Do you know what? Me and Jeff were talking about what is the first place that we're going to go out and have food once all of this is over. And I said, I want to go to the cafe by the lake in Horsham, but I want Johnny to be there. So, so we need to arrange that because just to let everybody know, me and Johnny didn't realise that we actually like live really, really close to each other. So definitely going to go there. They have really, really good vegan food, and it's by a lake. It's a cafe by a lake, which is beautiful. Okay, so David said, hi, glad to watch you live, saw you yesterday. Oh, good, and you're enjoying the new techie stuff. Great. Okay, Johnny says he's there. Good, right, okay, I've got my first outing post-lockdown sorted out. Good. Okay, right, okay, so as I was saying, Eurasian dish, it's got influence from Asia, but also from Portuguese food. So this is going to be really, really interesting. It's also known as a feng, this curry. So if you do want to look it up, then you can Google feng, F-E-N-G. And you know what we can do? Like just for kicks, we can do this. Ta-da! Tofu feng. So that is what you should be looking up, a feng. That's what it's called. Okay, so Sue said, Day, please can I ask before I forget, how long will fresh herbs keep in tinfoil? I have just had mint, basil, coriander and lemongrass delivered. Okay, so I wouldn't put the basil into the foil, doesn't really like it. Basil always likes to feel like it's in Italy, which most of us do, to be fair. So, you know, it wants to be like, you can just stick it in, if it's already cut at the bottom, then just stick it in a pot of water on the windowsill. You know, it needs to be somewhere hot. If it's still in its tub, that's the way that I prefer to buy it because it will last a lot longer and you can keep on growing it. So you'll actually see my basil plants in the background here. I just cut these off and then, oh, there you are. And then I kept going. I just, you know, took all the leaves off, used them, and then just kept watering it. And I keep it in the windowsill here because it's nice and hot. So if you can get it still in a pot, then I would advise you to still get it in a pot. You can get more out of it. But for things like mint and coriander, yes, indeed, put them in tin foil and then in your fridge, and they will last quite a long time. It's very, very difficult for me to estimate how long because it really depends on how fresh they were to start off with, really. That will be a factor, but weeks, like quite a long time, really, really quite a long time. Lemongrass, I tend to put in the freezer. So lemongrass and chilies, if I'm not going to be using them straight away. Kaffir lime leaves, galangal, I've all put in the freezer. Curry leaves too, bay leaves as well, all in the freezer. So and they'll just sit in there for ages. Okay, so on to today's recipe. I will get around to cooking at some point, or I could just sit here and chat to you guys because you are really lovely. You are really lovely. You're like the highlight of my day at the moment, honestly. Okay, but let's get on to the good stuff. Justine, thank you for joining us, and Karen, welcome back, and Onkar, welcome. Okay, so on to what our ingredients are. So we've got 1 block of tofu. Now the tofu that I'm using, it is quite a big block. This is the cauldron make. So you guys who live in the UK will probably be quite familiar with the Cauldron brand. It's quite a big block. It's around 400 grams. So you're going, so you can use like a smaller block. That's absolutely fine, and you'll just like have more paste and more flavour. That's absolutely fine. But it should be around like 300 grams of tofu, at least between 300 and 400, something like that. That's fine. I have pressed this beforehand, not in a tofu press. I just put it in this clean tea towel, and then I put this lovely thing on top of it. I do have a tofu press, but my tofu press is currently being used to ferment quinoa tempeh. So I had to come up with another solution. So I popped this on top of it, which is a very, very good use for it because it is damn heavy. It is damn heavy. Okay, so Justine says, yay, hello, I have a real problem with aquafaba. What? Why? Okay, right, I think that you should DM me about this because I think it's you using aquafaba, Justine, with the online course that you've been doing with us. And I've seen that you've had a few problems, so please DM me and then we'll chat about it later on today. I can even just like jump on a call with you if we really, really have to. Absolutely, we can do that. Colleen said, lovely little kitten at the end of the rainbow. No, it's not. It's not a lovely little kitten. So you'll have to see because it's not. Okay, Johnny said, ooh, quinoa tempeh sounds exciting. It is very exciting. Very exciting. I made some tempeh with Carlin peas the other day as well, which is lovely. Trying to make UK grown tempeh. And said, helps if you have the volume turned up on your phone. It does. But see, now you know that was the issue, you won't do it again. You'll know. And to be honest, I have so many tech issues with all this setup. Don't even get me started. You're in good company. Don't worry. I never do anything perfectly. I always make mistakes. Always. But that's because I'm human. So, all right, okay. Justine said that she will contact me about her aquafaba issues. Good. Thank you for that. Okay, so we've got our ingredients. So we've got our 1 block of tofu. As I said, I pressed it really, really well. It is firm tofu as well. If you can get extra firm, that's fine. If you've got those blocks that are already, fairly firm, they have the outer layer on them. So like the marinated ones, particularly, seem to be firmer. There's one, I think it's Typhon, that's very, very firm. Anything like that, the smoked one, really, really good in this dish. We want it to be quite chewy. And then we've got 25 grams or thereabouts of ginger, and we will need ginger again, but this is the first lot of ginger that we need. We've got some rice wine vinegar here. And then for this paste that we will be making, you can use 4 shallots. I didn't have shallots, so I'm using a small onion instead. So 1 small onion, a couple of garlic. I'm really wanting a lot of garlic at the moment. I don't know why. My body is wanting it. So we've got 3 massive cloves of garlic here. And you know what? We can actually come over to this view for a second. There we go. And then you can see a bit better. And then we've got another piece of ginger here that will be ground with all of these things. And then we've got our spices here. So we have coriander seeds, we've got our cumin seeds, we've got our fennel seeds, and we have our black peppercorns with our little pestle and mortar, which we are going to be grinding them. So we're going to be toasting and grinding all of these. And then we've got our turmeric, but we won't be toasting the turmeric at all. Okay, so it's just these ones that we will toast. And then we have a half a cup to 1 cup of stock. There we go. And so again, this is the marigold stock that I like to use, just with some hot water. Okay, so let me just see if we have any more questions. Ina said, good afternoon, I'm late today. That's okay, I have literally not started cooking yet, so don't worry. There's always a bit of a preamble of me talking to you guys, so don't worry about that. Colleen said, is it ginger root? Yes, it is ginger root. Johnny said, where's good for tofu round our way? Okay, so I have to admit that I actually get everything pretty much from Ocado and Riverford Organics at the moment, because we're just getting deliveries in. Ocado do an amazing range of vegan products, but you can also, Johnny, try the health food shop in Horsham Town Centre. They have some really, really nice tofus there, and actually the ladies there, they will, if they don't have something in, they will try to get it for you. So they've done that for me in the past. So, you know, once we're out of lockdown, I intend to use those guys again to give them our support so that they can like stay up and running. Patricia says, I would love you to have a week of cheese making. Well, actually, we do a cheese making course, so we won't be doing that for the moment because otherwise people won't want to buy our course. But if you are interested in that, you can check out our website, which is theveganchefschool.com, and have a look at the course. Any other questions? Oh, Lisa, thank you for joining us from New Jersey. Good morning. Deborah, hello. Any substitute for rice wine vinegar, please? I have everything else. Okay, so any light vinegar. Any light vinegar, so apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, that type of thing would be absolutely fine. Colleen says rainbow. David, I have hit the road. Everyone, have a double rainbow. Oh, he has to hit the road. Okay, he has to go. Okay. And he'll watch the rest tonight. Okay. And Virginia, hello again. Hello. Paul, you have my permission. You guys make me laugh. Okay, right. Now, onto some serious cooking. We're going to start by just cutting the tofu. So as I said, I've already pressed it as much as I can. So let's bring it over here. And it was a bit crushed already. That was the tofu that I got. And actually, so you can cut this into cubes if you want, but we're going to tear it again today because this is something that we've been doing a bit on this show, on my show. So tearing tempeh and tearing tofu rather than cutting it, so that we have these uneven bits of tofu rather than these regimented squares. And I actually prefer my tofu looking like this rather than looking, because you know, it looks overly processed just because it's cut into cubes. It isn't at all, and I know in my logical brain that it isn't, but since when did that matter? Since when did that have an impact? Huh? You know, quite often, like, our relationship with food is it's not necessarily based in logic. You know, it's based in our relationship with food, our history with food as well. Okay, so this does have one impact on this dish though. It does mean that when we're frying it, you know, we're not going to have those flat sides that are going to touch the oil very easily and you know, fry very easily. But we're going to get some really nice like crunchy bits, uneven bits on here. So there we go. We'll just pop that there, and I'll get a bowl and pop that in. Okay, so we'll just pop this into a bowl here and pop that out of the way. So this is another one of those dishes where we want to get everything sorted and prepped before we actually start cooking. So we'll pop that over there, get that out of the way. There we go. And clean our board a bit. Just go in there. And now we can prep our first lot of ginger. Colleen said it's a chef at the end of the rainbow. Yeah, it's actually me at the end of the rainbow. I wonder, let's see if we can get you guys in. Oh no, you don't want that to be bigger. You want this to be bigger. Right, there we go. There we go. It's me at the end of the rainbow. Couldn't you see the similarity? No, obviously my drawing skills, honestly. Okay, right, there we go. Back to normal, guys. And now we're just going to chop this this ginger into matchsticks. So as you guys will have seen before, I'm incredibly lazy when it comes to my ginger. And you know, there's the whole thing about like taking a spoon and then you do the thing and then you do the thing. And yeah, I can't be bothered. Can't be bothered with that. So I just take off as much as I can. I do get organic ginger, so I don't have to worry too much about you know, there being pesticides on it or anything like that. So, and we just want to chop this into matchsticks. There we go, just take all of those little bits off. Oh, Colleen said, is that Chef Nikki? Are you talking about who is being admin today? Because it's actually our lovely Louisa who is admin today. Wig says, can you find all these recipes again on Facebook? Okay, so that's a really, really good question. When we first started doing all of these recipes, we were adding the written recipe to our Facebook group and, you know, telling everyone, you know, just look on there, blah, blah, blah. And actually it was incredibly difficult for everyone to find them. Really, really difficult. So we started putting them onto our website as well. But I must say that that is a work in progress because it isn't something you can do that quickly. So we're having to do them in batches. So there is a load on there at the moment. And in the next few weeks, there will be more and more and more. So with this ginger, I'm just cutting it into matchsticks as finely as I can. There we go. There we go, we've got all of our matchsticks here, and we can just pop them into our bowl and pop these to one side with our tofu there. Okay, and next up is our paste. Okay, so you'll have seen in quite a few of our recipes this week that we quite often made a paste using these 3 ingredients, maybe also with chili as well. So it's a very, very, very standard thing to do, to use all of these, blend them into a paste, and then fry that off. And that will give you a really, really, really thick, yummy, very, very, very tasty sauce. So we don't need to cut these into very, very small pieces because we're going to blend them. So what's the point in, you know, trying to make them into like really, really small pieces if we're just going to blend them? So there we go, just into chunks. That's all we need. There we go. And with the ginger, I'm just going to get off any really gnarly bits. And so what I mean by that is those bits that are, if I can show you guys. See, this bit looks especially kind of like tough. So I do want to make sure that I get that off. But some of the other skin is actually okay because we're going to be blending it up anyway. So, oh, that's a better view. See, gnarly bit. There we go. So again, I'm just going to roughly chop this just to help out our blender. If you've got like a blender that is like amazing, then you'll be okay with just probably whacking the whole things in, you know. So the same with garlic, just roughly chopping it again. If you guys don't have a chopper attachment to a hand blender like the one that I'm going to use, then you can just finely grate it. So finely grate the onion, use a microplane, or even use a pestle and mortar for the garlic and the ginger, and that will do exactly the same job, So you don't need, where are you? There we are. You don't necessarily need anything like this. It isn't a must. It isn't a must. We can get away with fine graters. Absolutely. Okay. So we'll just pop this into. So this is the chopper attachment of a hand blender, rather than, you know, a little food processor. But you can use a little food processor if that's what you have. But it does need to be very, very small because there isn't a huge amount of stuff in here. If you have a food processor, you still want to do this, then what you could do is you could make it in big batches and then freeze what you're not going to use. So that is another option as well, because, you know, especially like if you've got an RSI, you know, or something like that, or you pulled a muscle by lifting weights like I have, then you know, you might not want to do all that grating where it, you know, it hurts your arm. So absolutely, you know, use things like gadgets, to make your life a lot easier if you do have, you know, struggles like that. Absolutely, I'm all for that, definitely. But you know, you need to give your blender enough to work with, or your food processor enough to work with, so you can just do it in a big batch and then freeze the rest of it. Let me see. David said, I love the concept of a towel under the cutting board, then pushing the compost to one side. Yes, well actually, David, the main reason for this is because then it doesn't move around. Because, you know, if it's a bit slidey underneath, then it can lead to you getting cut. So actually it's more like a safety thing, but it is very, very useful because I've got all my scraps on the side now. Khan said, a little late today. Greetings, Chef Day. Last day of Ramadan. Thank you for making the last few days really diverse, which has been possible through your channel. My parents still kind of like my vegan dishes. Okay, we're going to get them to love your vegan dishes. Okay? We are, definitely. So, oh, okay, so Louisa has shared a very old recipe for me, fig and hazelnut sushi. Gosh, that takes me back. That really does take me back. Okay, and just seeing if we've got any more questions. No. Colleen said, I would love a week of favourite potato recipes. Like shepherd's pie. I swear to God, you guys are psychic. So I've just come up with the next 3 weeks of the live recipes that I want to share with you guys. And guess what was on it? Shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie. Okay. Right. Okay. So on to blending this. Now, I'm just going to add like a little drop of water, and that is just to help the blender. Otherwise, it won't go round. So I'll just pop this on. And I'm lifting it up and shaking it around so that all of the mixture, it blends better, basically. Because you guys may know from the blenders that you've got that, you know, like with those upright ones where you've got the base and then you've got the jug, you need to keep stopping it and then scraping down the sides and then putting it back on again and then opening it and scraping it, blah, 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 blah. Boring, right? So if you use one of these, then you just shake it up and down at the same time, and effectively, like, it does the same thing, because it's getting all of the stuff from the sides and it's making it go into the centre where the blades are, where it will get blended. So that's the way I do it. I probably look rather silly when I'm doing it, but hey ho, doesn't really matter. Okay, so that is our paste, and that is the thing that is going to, well, one of the things that is going to add a lot of flavour to this dish. Okay, so we can pop that to one side, and now onto our spices. So let me just see. Justine said it's usually me that's psychic. I know. So actually, Justine, maybe you can suggest, like, what are the recipes that I will be making for the next 3 weeks, and see if you can actually you can actually like dial in to my brain and think, like, what is it that she's going to be making? You've already guessed cheesecake, so you've already had that one. Okay, and Khan says, sounds like a plan. Any updates on the apron? It's on my list. It's on my list of things to do. So hopefully this coming week we will have the aprons available to buy on our website. And Paul says you like potatoes. Okay, that's good, because actually one of the dishes that I make at home, which is Jeff's favourite dish, is my lentil shepherd's pie. And he was like, oh, you should do a live on it. And I said, it's a bit boring. I thought it was, you know, a bit samey, but there you go. But he said no. Of course he's going to say no. He loves it. But it's really, really good to know that you guys will actually appreciate that recipe as well, because it's all about, you know, if you like it, really. Okay, so I'm going to heat this up, and then we'll get the view back to here so that you can see more. And I am just letting that heat up a bit before we put these spices into the pan. So we've got a few different spices there. And most of them will be toasted and ground. So first of all, Here we have 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds, so quite a high amount of coriander seeds. And we will be crushing these as well. So guys, if you have any problems, you know, before we were talking about like mobility issues and RSIs and stuff like that, if you have any of those problems, then find them pre-ground. Just find them pre-ground, or get yourself a spice grinder, which is a bit like a coffee grinder. But if in doubt, you know, it's absolutely fine just to use the pre-ground stuff. So you've got 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds. I absolutely love fennel, really, really, really love it. So I love these recipes that have it in. And 1 teaspoon of black peppercorns. So at the moment, we won't be putting the turmeric into there, because the turmeric doesn't need to be heated. And of course it doesn't need to be ground, it's already ground, that's fine. And we will just let this get fragrant. So we don't want to put it on too high a heat, because if we put it on too high a heat, it may burn. And we really, really don't want that to happen. It's always really annoying when that happens. So we'll just leave it on, it's on number 2 at the moment. But you guys know that this is an absolute demon. So, you know, it gets very, very hot, you know, far too hot in my opinion, so I have to be really careful. I have it on low. Deborah said that she would love lentil recipes. Good. Louisa said potato sounds like a good idea. Keep giving suggestions. Yes, please do. Denise, I would love to learn cooking with lentils. So your shepherd's pie sounds a perfect way to try this. Good. Erin said I would as well. Khan said avocados in desserts. Okay, so let me just bring you back to here, and I will have a chat with you about why I don't use avocados. So I don't use avocados in my cooking because they're not great for the environment. The amount of water that it actually takes to grow them is really, really high. So with the school, I made the decision to try and make it as sustainable as possible. So not only, you know, is the food obviously all vegan, so we're very sustainable in that way, but also trying not to use what are known as thirsty crops. So avocados, very, very thirsty crop. Almonds, very, very thirsty crop. So with almonds, occasionally I'll use them, but I'm really trying to substitute for things like other nuts if I can, or if it's more like a baked thing, using ground oats. So you'll see in some of my recipes that I actually use ground oats, and that's because it's a great substitution for ground almonds. So, but you know, if other people want to share their avocado dessert recipes, and I think we also already have them on our website, so just the written recipe, not the live, so you can check that out, because of course this is a new thing for us. Well, we've been doing this for about a year in this, having this like avocado ban, which is a shame because avocado chocolate mousse is absolutely divine. But there you go. I will find another way to do that recipe, rest assured. Okay, back to our pan here. So they're starting to smell. That's the way that you tell if they're ready, when you can really smell them. So we'll leave this on for a bit longer and just see if there are any other comments. Anne said, loving the new camera angle. Good. It does make things a lot clearer, I think. And Ina said, new potato pancakes with sauerkraut salad. Oh, that sounds good. Khan said, didn't know that. Thank you for that. No problem. I mean, it's completely up to you. And also, you know, we don't grow avocados in the UK, so that makes them even less sustainable. But where you're living, I don't know. Can you get do avocados grow where you live, Khan? Erin said, thank you for the explanation. I didn't know that. No problem at all. So with the school, you know, we are trying to make it as sustainable as possible. I'm just going to pop these up a little bit, get them cooking. We do try to make it as sustainable as possible, and we've also gone organic. So all of the fruit and veg and all of the ingredients that we buy for the in-person course is always organic now as well. We've done projects with Riverford Organics, and also Clive's Pies and Hodmedod's. So all 3 companies where like sustainability is at their heart, because what we're finding is that with all of the students that are coming to us, not only are they vegan and really believe in you know, eating in a way that minimizes impact, but they also believe in things like sustainability and seasonality and, you know, really, really minimizing our harm to the planet as much as possible. So it kind of like made sense for us to go down this route. Okay, so I think that these are just about done. Let's have a look. Sorry, my head is in the way, isn't it? There we go. There's a little bit more time. So guys, do let me know if you have any questions whilst we're cooking along. I really do want these to get a bit more toasted, because what you will find is that if these aren't toasted enough, they will be harder to grind. So you want to make sure that you don't burn them, but you do want to make sure that they are cooked enough. So I'm starting to see a little bit of smoke coming off here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's very, very faint. Very, very faint. So that is just about done. So we'll pop these into our little pestle and mortar here. Right, there we go. So as you can see, it's a lot of spices. It is a lot of spices. There's a huge amount of spices in this dish, which is really, really lovely. Okay, so we're going to give these a good grind. Paul said I had a friend who wrote a book on pre-call, to pre-call the future, like the way you can recall the past. I pre-call a potato vegan chef's called cooking demonstration. Yes, we'll definitely do potatoes one day. Absolutely, because you know, like let's get back to here. It's a bit more of an interesting view for you guys. I really didn't like white potatoes for a really long time, and actually we're going to be doing a potato recipe tomorrow. And it was only through only through shopping at Riverford Organics and getting their veg boxes that I actually started liking potatoes. Because I get their UK only veg box. So they do have all of these other veg boxes and, you know, really big ones with like salad items in and fruit and blah, blah, blah. But I decided that, you know, they've got this veg box that is UK only. I'm pretty inventive in the kitchen, as you'd imagine. So, you know, I can get creative with it. There is a time in the year which is the hungry gap, which is when there isn't enough food being made here, food being grown here for the actual demand. So you know that during that kind of 6-week period, they may put in something from Europe, but that's it really. So we've had really, really great stuff in the veg box this week. We've had some mini artichokes and some asparagus. So next week, I will be showing you how to make a spring veg risotto, because I think that that's a really, really lovely dish for when the weather is like it is now. And instead of wine, we'll use kombucha to go in that. So it can be a completely alcohol-free dish. You know, and also I think that, you know, whilst wine is really, really nice in a risotto, it does give it a lovely flavour. It's also quite a processed thing. So, you know, if that's not your bag, then using kombucha is a really, really good alternative. But yes, so how did I get onto that from potatoes? So potatoes we will be using for our last curry dish tomorrow, which is actually my favourite of the ones that I've made this week. And it is absolutely delicious, really, really delicious. And it's a nonya dish. So if any of you guys are familiar with Malaysian food, it's a nonya dish. So a nonya is it was from the Chinese immigrants to Malaysia. It was their style of food. So we're going to make that tomorrow with white potatoes. Okay, so you can see this is taking quite a long time for me to grind. I just want to make sure that we don't get any chunks. It doesn't have to be ground to a powder. It doesn't have to be ground to powder, so don't worry about that too much. There we go. So let's see if we can, yeah, there. So it isn't a powder, there is still lumps in it, but that's okay. That's okay. Give it a bit more. Just seems to, I will have to rack my psychic brain and let you know tomorrow. Can we cook live tomorrow? I'm actually off. Yeah, yes, actually, after today's show, I will share the ingredients that you will need for tomorrow's recipe. We're trying to do it in a way that isn't too confusing to you guys. So rather than giving you all of the ingredients for all of the shows that we're doing, releasing the ingredients for the next show after we've done this one. Paul said, is that the same pestle and mortar that Nikki was using? Well, of course it isn't, Paul. Denise, aren't the kitchen tiles the same for Chef Day and Chef Nikki? I don't know, actually, are they? That would be a coincidence. Okay, right, we've got our spices here now, and we can just add half a teaspoon of turmeric to that. Okay. And we're going to actually mix these two things together. So let's just take that out there. Pop all of our spices into this lovely, yummy paste and give that a good mix. There we go. Okay, so let's get this on quite a high heat. So for me, that's a 6 because this does get really, really hot, and we've got a little bit of oil here. And first of all, we will fry our matchsticks, so our ginger matchsticks. So, but we want this to be at a really, really high heat before we put them in. So just let it get there. Quite often, you know, one of the things that people do, me included, is we put food into oil far too quickly. Sorry, Erin, you said, sorry I missed it. What is in the paste? Okay, so in here we had onion, garlic, ginger, and then which were ground, and then we had coriander seeds, cumin seeds, fennel seeds, black peppercorns, which were toasted and ground, and turmeric. Tatiana said, hi, oh, I don't know what you're talking about there. No, I didn't understand any of that. Okay, right. So first of all, our ginger. And I'm just going to mix it all around so that the oil is already on all of the bits that we want to cook. And oh my God, that smells amazing. Oh, you know, one day we'll have smell-o-vision and I can get you guys to smell this at the same time. That would be great. Oh, that smells so nice. Oh, I'm a big fan of ginger. Really, really big fan of ginger. Okay. So we'll just cook this for a few minutes and just let it do its thing. You know, one of the other things that I see people doing is mixing things around too much. And quite often when we mix around things, then they don't cook enough. Because stirring is a really, really great way to cool down a pot. Tanya said, could you use ground fennel? Yes, absolutely. Erin, also loving ginger. Tatiana said, which site would you use to get affordable spices without delivery prices? Actually, me and Katie were talking about that the other day. So there's a website called Red Rickshaw in the UK. So unfortunately, I only know about like UK, so because that's where I am. So where are you? Where are you, Tatiana? Are you UK based or elsewhere? Okay, so this is smoking already because my pan is so hot, so I'll just leave it, hold it off to one side, also figure out what's the next thing to do. So the next thing to do is our tofu. So we just want to get a few crispy bits on our tofu. So tofu needs a high heat, a really high heat, before it goes into the oil. One of the things that people will do when they cook tofu for the first time is they won't have it on the heat that it needs to be on. And then it will just get really soggy and oily and it won't be pleasant. There we go. So we'll just let this sizzle away. I don't want to touch it too much because it won't give the tofu enough time to crisp up on the bottom. And then I'll move it and I'll just end up with loads of little bits in the pan, and I don't want that. I want some nice crispy edges, please. There we go. Oh, Tatiana says she's in France. Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can get from Red Rickshaw abroad. Maybe you can, because France isn't too far. Yeah, so I think you might be okay. You might be, especially if it's things like spices, because you know, they're fairly light. They're fairly light, but they do like packets for 59p, which is an absolute bargain. Okay, so Erin said I've made that mistake and stopped using tofu for a while. Yeah, there's like just a few like key things that you need to know about tofu to make it really, really nice every time. You know, and one of them is making sure that the oil is really, really hot. The pan is really, really hot when it goes in. That will mean that you'll get these crispy edges. If you're in doubt, if you are kind of a bit done with frying it because you just can't get it right, then try baking it. Baking it is really, really easy, and it won't get soggy basically. So we do have a live recipe on how to make tofu nice, where I talk a lot about tofu, funnily enough. So you can dig that out and have a look at that too. So this is really, really nice and hot, and you can see like we're getting some brown edges on here. I'm going to add a bit more oil, and you'll see that for those of you who don't know about my pan is higher in the middle than it is at the sides, so the oil always goes all around the outside rather than in the middle, which is annoying, but that's why it's all around the outside, because you want whatever is cooking in there to be in the oil rather than in this dry bit, otherwise it will burn. Tanya said, thanks for the great tips. No worries at all. Okay, we're rocking and rolling now. There we go. We just want to crisp this up a bit so that, you know, it isn't so jelly-like. We want some nice textures there as well. So we want some crispiness on the outside, soft on the inside. There we go. Okay, so once that has got to, you know, a bit crispy, you've got enough, you know, edges on there, a bit of brown, then we can take it out. So we are just going to be using one frying pan today, but there is this thing of like taking stuff in and out, but it does mean that we only end up using one frying pan today. Okay, so we'll just pop it in there. Okay, now I just want to cool this down slightly so that it doesn't burn the spice paste that we're going to put into it. It's very important not to burn spice paste. So mind your eyes, there's going to be a bit of smoke. There we go, guys. Are you still there? Okay, so that will just like cool down our pan a bit. There we go, and then once that is evaporated, we can start cooking the spice paste. So I am just trying to use this one pan, but it does mean that we need to do things like this, because I know that this pan is going to be really, really hot at the moment because we've just been frying this tofu. It was, you know, it was almost smoking. It was almost smoking, so we really do need to just cool it down a bit. There we go. Erin said steam over. Yeah, I love doing that with you guys. I think it looks great. It really looks great on the camera. Justine said instead of smelly vision, we should be able to just grab the food you cook and taste it. Well, one day, my love. One day we'll get there. Okay, so I'll just get rid of this water. There we go. Okay, just let that. You can either wipe it off if you want to, or just let the water evaporate. But we do want to get rid of that water before we put the oil in, because otherwise it will pop. And we don't want that to happen because it can pop at you. And you know, that's happened to me before, and yeah, it was fairly painful because, you know, it popped and I got some hot oil on my face, which isn't very nice. So we do want that water to disappear. If you've got a rag that you use, you know, sometimes I have a rag in the kitchen that I'm quite happy to use for these things. I don't mind if it gets a bit of oil on it. Then you can just use it and wipe it if you want to. There we go, but it's nearly done. Tanya said, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Paul said the subtitling is amazingly accurate. That's great. That's really good to know, because I think, was it a couple of days ago? Yeah, it would have been a couple of days ago. I kept saying Thai green curry, and it kept spelling it out as tiger curry. So if I say Thai green curry, does it actually say Thai green curry or tiger curry? Okay, so add a bit of oil, and then we have our spice paste here. So pop that to where the oil actually is. And we want this to fry off until it stops smelling raw. There we go. So our spice paste in there. And we can add drops of water. We need to just disperse the spice paste here. So it's very difficult to say how long you guys should fry this for, because it depends on quite a lot of things. It depends on obviously how high you've got it here. We know that this is quite a, you know, very hot plate. So I've only got it on 3 at the moment, but that's probably about halfway of its heat. It's, you know, it's very hot. And it also depends on which pan you're using and how well that conducts heat as well. So the best thing to look out for is that you're not going to burn it. So, you know, make sure that you're scraping down the bottom, that it can move around, that it's not sticking. And notice the change in colour as well, and also you'll notice the change in the smell. So at the moment it will smell quite raw, and then the more it cooks, the less raw it will smell, and you will get to know that. It will come with practice, basically. Sue says that she doesn't get subtitling on a laptop but do it on my phone. Okay, that's really interesting. Ah, okay, yeah, so we have selected to have subtitles. They're just like automatically computer generated. So yeah, so if people do need them, then we just found a peppercorn. So just taking out a peppercorn that I missed there when I was grinding. There we go. So as you can see, I am moving this around quite a lot, and also I end up doing this quite a lot too, because it can really clump together, and so this just spreads it out a bit. And so we want to cook this for a good few minutes. So do let it cook. You know, so stir it and fry it, but just remember that you do need to stir it and you do need to fry it. So you need to give it both, you need to give it time with both of those things. So, you know, you will have time when you're mixing it around, but what I mean is don't like continually just mix it around, otherwise it won't have time to cook. and allow it to fry, but don't just allow it to just sit there, otherwise it will burn. So it's already a lovely colour, already a really, really lovely colour. There's so much flavour in this dish, honestly. Okay, so we're just having a bit of a chat about the subtitles there. Sue says, I just investigated because Paul was talking about subtitles the other day. Yes, yeah, they are a great addition. Yeah, subtitles even have proper punctuation. Good. Fionn, that's a very lovely name. Thank you for commenting. I don't know if you've ever commented before, Fionn, because I would have commented on your lovely name. Okay, so I can see in the centre, this is burning slightly, so mind your eyes. I'll just add a little dash of water there and just scraping that off. Just make sure that things aren't burning on there. Okay. So it's good for you guys to see this in real time and see how long I'm taking with this. So I just turned it up slightly. Sarah said, hi, unrelated question. I have a muffin recipe that asks for whole wheat or whole wheat pastry flour. I have whole buckwheat, plain rice flour, coconut flour, and plain wheat flour. What would you recommend replacing it for? A straight swap, I would say plain wheat flour. The gluten-free flours, I always use them as a combination because I don't think that there is one gluten-free flour that you can just use as it is. You need a combination of them. So yes, I would say plain wheat flour, Sarah. Erin says, oh, I can imagine how it smells. It does smell nice. Sarah says, I have strong wholemeal bread flour. No, I would say that if it's asking for pastry flour, it's better to go with just plain wheat flour. Because, okay, so let me just come over to here. And I'll explain to you guys that with flour, I'm just going to add a bit of water to that so it doesn't burn while I'm chatting to you about flour. Okay, so in the middle, you'll have plain wheat flour. On one side, you'll have bread flour, and on the other side, you'll have pastry flour. And that's because the flour that we use for bread has a lot of gluten in it. It's going to be, we want it to be really, really stretchy. Like that's the whole kind of like point. We want those bonds, you know, to happen because that's what helps bread making. In the middle, we have plain wheat flour that is really versatile and can be used for either or. You know, it can be used for like pretty much any time that you need plain wheat flour. That's absolutely fine. And it can make bread, but it might not be like the best bread you've ever had. Whereas if you use bread flour, you're more likely to get, you know, a really good bread out of it. But you can use plain wheat flour. And then on the other side, we have pastry flour, which isn't going to have as much gluten in it. It isn't going to be that kind of like chewy and elasticated because it's not really what you want with pastry. With pastry, you want it to be flaky. So you've got pastry flour here, you've got regular plain wheat flour here, and then you've got bread flour here. So I hope that that makes sense to you. That's the way that I think about it. Okay, back to our spice paste, and it is about done. So the colour has darkened, definitely. I can see that from where I am. Steamy kitchen. Okay, so and now we're about ready to put our tofu into the lovely spices. Let me just see if I've got any more questions here. Justine said, oh, do I need yeast for bread? I have bread flour but not yeast. Yes, you do. You do definitely need yeast. I think there are some breads that don't use yeast. But I can't think which ones they are off the top of my head. But there are some that use, like soda bread. I think soda bread, that doesn't use yeast, does it? It uses bicarbonate of soda, hence the name. So, adding our tofu into our lovely spice paste. And now we just need to add our vinegar. So 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. There we there. Give this a really, really good mix. And now we can add some of our stock. So it's really, really up to you guys how much stock you want to add. You can just add, I think I added, gosh, half. That's half a cup. And it's this wet. But if you want it to be much wetter, then you can add the rest of it. Now with these lovely ginger matchsticks, we add half to the dish. And then once we serve it, we'll add half on top. So just let that heat up, because remember that tofu that we've just added hasn't been, it has been in a bowl. It's maybe cooled down a bit. We want it to heat up again. So there we go. We'll just leave that in there for a few minutes. Let me just see if there are any more questions. Doug said, I have loads of wheat gluten. What are your favourite things to make with it? Okay, so bring it back to you. So I'm gluten-free, so I don't make anything with it. Louisa, I don't know whether you have made anything with wheat gluten. If anybody who's watching makes stuff with wheat gluten, then please do say, and we can give Doug some of our suggestions. Erin said, vinegar as a spice, never seen that here in Kentucky. Okay, so using vinegar in this dish, this is the Portuguese influence. So this is a Eurasian dish. It's from the Philippines, where there was Portuguese influence with the food. So it's these coming together of different cultures and their different cuisines and the different ingredients they use, which I absolutely find like so fascinating. Really, really, really fascinating. Okay, so guys, this is about done. I'm going to grab a plate and then I can eat. Okay, guys, so this is, I really, really like having this type of dish alongside lots of others. So having a kind of a real like banquet with these different curries. And that's actually what we did last week. We actually had a banquet with all of the different curries that I've been showing you how to make all week. Because, you know, with this dish, it is only tofu. It is only tofu in here. But quite often, you know, in Asia, this is how you will eat. There will be all of these different flavoured curries and dishes, but they'll only have this one main ingredient in them. And that can seem like a little bit boring, but only if this is the only thing that you're going to have, plus rice or whatever. But if you're going to have this, and then, you know, like our chickpea coconut curry that we had the other day, and the potato nonya curry that we'll have tomorrow. If you have this as part of that banquet, then it all really, really makes sense. So here we go, guys. This is my tofu curry, also known as tofu beng. So really, really flavoursome. Really flavoursome. Loads of lovely, healthy spices in there. Great for fighting infections. And great just for being really, really tasty. Okay, so let's get back to seeing you guys. Hello. And oh, we've had a few suggestions here. Lisa says you can make seitan, and that's a great idea. Harry said I make vegan steaks. Okay, the recipe is on the website. Loving it vegan. That's a really, really great tip. So do check that out, guys. Erin said it looks delicious. It does. Smells lovely as well. Looks amazing, beautiful. Yes, absolutely. And now I get to try some. And I love the ginger on top as well. So like super gingery. Really, really tasty. Really, really tasty. The only thing that I would add, actually, is a bit of salt. It needs a bit of salt. But that is it. Yummy. Yummy. So it didn't take too long either. It only took so long because I talked a lot. That's the only reason. So, really, really nice. Really, really nice. It's got so much flavour, guys. And it is as I said, like, it's really, really easy. All of the curries that we're making this week have been fairly easy to make. So please do try them out. Let us know how you get on if you do try them out. Share pictures, as we love to see the pictures of what you guys have made in our community group. So this is our community hub, which is our Facebook group. So lots of people have been sharing their recipes that they've made, either from the lives that they've been watching with us, or indeed with the online courses that we just recently started selling. So please do share your pictures of your food. We love to see pictures of food. So yeah, that is our community hub, which is our Facebook group. Oh, thank you for putting that link in there. Doug said, once again, thanks for brightening our day. Thank you, thank you. This has been a long one today, but I hope that you have got a lot of benefit out of it, and that you are going to try one of the lovely curries that we have shared with you this week. So join me tomorrow for our final curry of the week, but probably not of the year. We will be doing another curry, I'm sure. I mean, there are so many to choose from, So, guys, thank you for spending this time with me, and have a lovely day.